The woman was already there when Daniel reached his father's grave. That alone made his heart skip. It was early morning, the kind of quiet where even your thoughts sound too loud, and no one ever came this early except him. She stood still, dressed in a simple dark coat, her back turned, one hand resting gently on the cold headstone as if she belonged there. Daniel stopped walking. For a moment, he wondered if he should turn around and leave. But then she spoke, without looking at him, and said something that made his chest tighten instantly. You look just like him when you're standing there in silence. If this moment already has your heart racing, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that the past never really leaves us, it just waits for the right moment to speak. Daniel was a single dad in his mid-30s, exhausted in a way sleep could never fix. Life had hardened him quietly. His wife had died 6 years earlier, leaving him to raise their son, Noah, alone. And before that grief had even healed, his father had passed away suddenly from a heart attack. Since then, this grave had become Daniel's anchor. Whenever life felt like it was slipping through his fingers, he came here, talked to his dad, and pretended for a few minutes that he wasn't alone making every decision, carrying every fear. He cleared his throat. I'm sorry, he said cautiously. Do I know you? The woman turned slowly. Her face was calm but carried something heavy behind the eyes. Years of memories, some painful, some unfinished. She studied Daniel the same way people look at old photographs, searching for familiar details. You don't know me, she said. But I knew your father very well. Daniel felt a strange defensiveness rise in him. His father had been a simple man, quiet, devoted to family. Daniel thought he knew everything about him. He never mentioned you, Daniel replied, trying to sound polite but firm. She nodded, as if she expected that answer. No, she said softly. He wouldn't have. They stood there, the silence growing heavier. Daniel almost walked away. But then she said the words that froze him where he stood. Your father saved my life. And he asked me to come here today, if I ever had the courage. Daniel's throat went dry. His father had been gone for years. That's not possible, he said. He's dead, she finished gently. I know. But some promises don't die with people. Against his better judgment, Daniel stayed. Something in her voice carried truth, not drama, not attention-seeking, just honesty worn thin by time. She introduced herself as Evelyn. And then she told him a story Daniel had never heard. 25 years ago, before Daniel had even finished school, his father had been working a second job late nights to support the family. One evening, he found Evelyn sitting alone at a bus stop in the rain, bruised, shaking, and clearly terrified. She had run away from an abusive home and had nowhere to go. Everyone else passed by. Daniel's father didn't. He bought her food, listened without judgment, and helped her find a shelter. Over the next few months, he checked on her quietly, anonymously, making sure she stayed safe, asking nothing in return. But there was one thing, Evelyn said, her voice breaking for the first time. I was pregnant. And I didn't think I deserved to live, let alone bring a child into the world. Your father sat with me for hours and told me something I still hear in my head every single day. Daniel felt his hands clench. What did he say? He said, pain doesn't mean you're broken. Sometimes it means you're still breathing for a reason. Daniel swallowed hard. Those words sounded exactly like his father. Evelyn went on. She rebuilt her life. Slowly, she had the baby. She worked, studied, failed, tried again. Years passed. She wanted to tell Daniel's father how much he had changed her life, but she was ashamed, afraid of reopening the past. They lost touch. Then one day, she saw his obituary. I came to the funeral, she said quietly. I stood far away. I saw you. And your wife. I wanted to speak to you then, but I couldn't. It didn't feel like my place. Daniel felt anger, confusion, sadness all colliding inside him. Why hadn't his father told him any of this? Why was he only hearing it now, at a time when he himself felt like he was barely holding life together? Evelyn looked down at the grave again. Before he died, he wrote me a letter. He said if I ever felt ready, I should come here and tell his son who he really was. Not the version who paid bills and gave advice, but the version who believed in people when they couldn't believe in themselves. Daniel felt tears slip down his face before he could stop them. He thought of the nights he sat alone after his wife died, feeling like he was failing Noah, feeling invisible. And suddenly, He realized. His father had been that invisible strength for others, just as Daniel was trying to be for his son.